in meditation, let's take just a few seconds for silence. This is the 13th anniversary of the tragic events of September 11th, 2001, when thousands of Americans died in the attacks on the World Trade Center. Thank you. Something most of you probably don't know is September 11th, 2001 was also my dad's last birthday. So this is a very special day for me too. Okay, I won't say all of you, because I know better, but by now most of you have read The Other Wes Moore. Have all of you read it? Most of you read it. Because you've read it, you know that a man named Wes Moore wrote it, and you know it's a story, a true story about his life and the life of another man also named Wes Moore. As Dr. Bramlett said at town meeting, we'll have our first discussions of this book next week. Maybe you're wondering why. And maybe last year you wondered why we had a social justice leadership summit and why we'll have another one this year. And maybe you always wonder why I always talk about embracing the differences among us and the importance of diversity and inclusion. And maybe, rather than wondering why, you think it's dumb or politically correct for us to have the theme of building an inclusive community this year. Don't we already have an inclusive community in which we try to be nice to everyone and try to celebrate everyone's gifts and accomplishments? And don't we already get along really well, at least most of the time? Of course we do. It's one of the reasons I love St. Luke's and couldn't wait to see all of you last week after a summer apart. But, and you knew what was coming, so here it is. But, at St. Luke's, we have an honor code. An honor code that each of you discussed and signed in advisory 2 days ago. Or was that 3 days ago? 2 days ago. 2 days ago, right? Today's Thursday. All right. An honor code that calls on us to be honest, respectful, kind, and responsible. When it comes to the differences among us, differences of race, of religion, of wealth, of sexual orientation, of physical appearance, and of abilities, to name just a few, when it comes to those differences, it can be difficult and confusing to know how to be truly honest, respectful, kind, and responsible. This year, thanks to Dr. Bramlett's leadership, what happened? Sorry. What do I do? Will it fix itself? There we go. Thanks to Dr. Bramlett's leadership and all of our support for the work, we're going to embrace what I consider our responsibility to interact with each other as honestly and kindly as possible, to understand, appreciate, and respect the differences among us. I'm pretty certain that nothing could be more important as we read and discuss The Other Wes Moore, and as the middle school does the same thing with a book entitled Wonder. And as members of the school community share their perspectives and their cultural stories in advisory, in class discussions of literature, in essays, in informal conversations, and in meditations. So let me tell a little story that highlights why I think we have a responsibility to have honest, kind, respectful, and responsible conversations about our differences. I love sports. I love playing sports, I love watching sports, I love reading about sports and talking about sports, especially baseball, which I played from Little League through college and a little bit after college. Because I love baseball so much, I couldn't resist watching a few games of the Little League World Series a few weeks ago, even though I hate the way over-involved Little League adults and the media have taken the innocence and pure joy of play away from kids. But even something so crass, that so crassly commercializes a kid's game can produce heartwarming and reassuring stories, and that was especially true this year. Those of you who also watched the Little League World Series will remember that side by side with a police officer's killing of an unarmed teenager named Michael Brown and the daily barrage of terrible news from Ferguson, Missouri, the series gave us a bunch of kids. First, Monet Davis, and then the kids on the Chicago Jackie Robinson team who represented hope, progress, and something to root for. And I found myself rooting for Monet and her Philadelphia team and for the Chicago team, most of whom were black kids. They were amazingly talented, but I had to admit to myself, that was not the only reason I wanted those kids to win. As I watched them compete, I began to realize I also was thinking about Michael Brown. He was just a few years older than these Little Leaguers. I wanted the black kids to win because Michael and too many other young men of color do not win. As I tell you this story, I feel awkward, inappropriate, and uncool. It's not cool to talk about people's skin color or admit it matters to us in any way, right? But Dr. Bramlett and others have taught me that being willing to talk about differences is one of the best ways to get closer and to heal conflicts. Even though I'm not entirely comfortable doing it, I'm sharing with you some private thoughts I had about children and baseball and race and injustice. In the months to come, I hope you all will be as willing to get a bit uncomfortable, to share your honest feelings about our community, our differences, and the ways we can come together. I bet a good number of you are mentally shaking your heads and may still be thinking, why are we talking about this? It's just you older generations who are hung up on differences. Many of you probably think I really don't care about someone's race or religion, or if a person is homosexual or has an accent or is poor or rich. It's what's in a person's brain and head that matters. And to some extent, you are right about changing attitudes. Blatant racism and other openly expressed prejudice are no longer socially acceptable in most places. But I'm afraid that doesn't mean injustice, disrespect, and intolerance are behind us. I wish with all my heart that those things were behind us. But the world tells us that we're just not there yet. We've not yet reached a place of equality and respect and safety for all. Michael Brown's devastated mother and father can testify to that cold fact. Millions persecuted for their religion or ethnicity or sexual orientation can testify as well. And even in truly nice places, such as our own Hilltop, exclusion exists, though in much subtler forms. An unintentionally offensive comment, an invitation not extended, a conversation never started, a connection never made. All of these things bring us full circle, back to Westmore and our honor code. We had this summer read because it connects us all and will pave the way for important conversations. We have an honor code at St. Luke's because it articulates clearly what we consider honorable: honesty, respect, kindness, responsibility. The other Westmore and the honor code strengthen the muscles we need to build an inclusive community. I want to leave you with this quotation. It's something I've referred to in some years at St. Luke's commencement, and it's timeless. In 1963, President Kennedy gave the commencement address at American University in Washington, D.C. In that speech, he said the following: "If we cannot end now our differences, at least we can make the world safe for diversity. For in the final analysis, our most basic common link is that we all inhabit this small planet. We all breathe the same air. We all cherish our children's futures, and we are all mortal. I'm happy to share this small planet with each of you. Thanks for listening to me today. It meant a lot. Have a great day.